Pope Francis, in one of his sermons, said, "A Christian family is a missionary family." The Catholic Church dedicates this year as the Year of Families. And in this context, we have a very courageous family from Melbourne, Australia. This family took a 23-day pilgrimage, traveled 12,000 kilometers in an 8-seater jam-packed van. They visited over 20 cathedrals, 40 churches and shrines, with one purpose: to honor God as a family and to pray for the people in Australia. And so today we have Manoj and family. Manoj has been in renewal for the past 14 years. He's an active member of the Jesus Youth Movement here in Australia. He also is very active in his parish, St. Agatha's, Cranbourne. So I welcome Manoj and Binnu. When most of the families choose popular destination for their vacation, how come you choose a pilgrimage? What inspired you to this pilgrimage?
When we came to Australia in 2003, we knew God was actually giving us the grace to witness Him here in this country. And we always wanted to work among families. And especially when we came here, we saw a lot of families where the parents was divorced and the children were having a hard time. So we always had that heart to go out and reach out to the families. And then we were praying about this, and then we had that inspiration coming up to go and visit the cathedrals and the main churches in Australia and to pray for families. And also this year, we belong to the Diocese of Sale, and we have started a plan for family evangelization for the next 5 years. And this year we have decided to go on with focusing on family prayer. So then, and also then we thought, okay, we were praying about it, and on the 8th of December 2013, we had a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Sale, St. Mary's Cathedral, and we went up there and we knew the dean there. He was known to us, he was our parish priest before. We were actually discussing with him, and he also told, okay, that would be a good idea, and he actually recommended us to go.
We wanted to take time out with our family, and the life here is so busy and there's so much going on. And then though I was a stay-at-home mom, I still found that I didn't have enough time to be with my family. And we so decided that it would be good to take some time out where we can be with the family and with God. And as a family with God, centering around Him. And ages ago when we first came, we used to read a story to our children. It was about, are we there yet? And it's about a trip around Australia. And my son asked us, so when can we go, we do this trip? And we said we will one day, but then the babies kept coming and we had to put it off. But this seemed like a good time. So we decided to, with the Father's blessing and with the prayer from the Jesus Youth community, we thought this would be a good time to just set forward. And we were also in the national service team of Jesus Youth, where we always wanted, ever since we got to that position, we wanted to go and visit different families around Australia. And it all seemed to fall together by divine providence at this time. There are 4 main intentions to which we dedicated our pilgrimage. The first was mainly for families, that they may grow in love and in faith in God. Then for vocations, that we may have more vocations in this land, in Australia. We also prayed for the new Jesus Youth Mission endeavours around here, around Australia and PNG. We also prayed for Christian unity, because that's what the Holy Father has been asking us to do.
I'm sure this pilgrimage wasn't an overnight thought. So how did you plan and prepare for this pilgrimage? Like from the start, convincing the kids, finances, accommodation, and above all, spiritual preparations. How did you start, and where did you start, and how did the planning start?
Convincing the children wasn't such a big problem, because they were all happy to go off and see places and be with the family together in the car. So they were a bit worried about what they do in the car, but still, they were looking forward eagerly to it. But the older ones a bit worried about missing school, because we did have to miss 3 days of school. And from the first day that we went to Sale Cathedral on December 8th, we decided that we dedicate our family rosary for this intention as well. to offer up our pilgrimage and to be guided by the Holy Spirit through it all, to be provided and protected for all of that. And that's how we were spiritually and mentally preparing. And
yeah, when we were decided finally to go around, what we did was we actually took out all the details of all the cathedrals and the main churches around Australia, and then I actually started charting a daily plan. But when the biggest struggle which I was going through was how far can I drive a day, and with the kids we didn't want to drive through the night, so we wanted to really reach our destination maybe by around 7 o'clock, and with the kids we won't be able to get out anywhere before 8 o'clock. And then I started charting out, and then when I looked around the itinerary, I could actually go complete the half of Australia in around 23 days. And each day we could be visiting the cathedrals or churches and attending Holy Mass, or maybe the different venerations there. Also, the other thing, we had spoken to many of the priests whom we knew, and they all encouraged us, and they were all willing to offer prayers and give spiritual guidance for us. So that was something of my comfort for me. And also then with the accommodation side, Jesus Youth had many families around Australia, and they were all very willing to help us, and they were welcoming us. So, and the places where we didn't have much families, we actually went to the internet site, and it was easy for us to get an accommodation. But initially I was thinking, with the 6 kids and 2 of us, it's like for 8 people to get an accommodation, it would be hard. But anyhow, it was all falling into place. So we knew God was actually into it, and we could just depend on Him. With the finance side, I had to take a loan, but throughout my life and throughout in our married life, we never thought of finance a big issue, because we knew God always provides, and that was a big concern. And I knew we have many families that actually told us, oh, okay, it's nice to see you all depending so much on God with one income, because I'm the only one who is working as well.
So in this 23-day pilgrimage, I'm sure you would have numerous memories and would have faced challenges as well. What are some of the memories and the richest memories and the challenges that you faced?
For us, it was the whole pilgrimage was memorable, and some of the instances where, because we have been praying to Mother Teresa and Saint Teresa of the Little Flower, and most of the churches and the cathedrals where I went to, I could see the statue or the image of Saint Teresa, and which gave me a lot of delight, because they are all praying for us, they are waiting for us, and that gave us a lot of joy. Also, when we went to Tennant Creek, and the church was called Christ the King Church, and we actually had a picture of this church. One of our friends drew it for us, and that was with us from 2007. And when we entered the church, we had a real sense of belonging there. I don't know why, but it's like maybe it's the God calling us to be there, and I don't know where the Lord is leading us. And also throughout our journey, it was not always easy. I was doing most of the driving, but Binnu was always there to help me. And some days we actually felt very tired, and whenever I felt tired, and I was 2-3 times this doubt came to me, was I foolish to do this? And then I don't know, from somewhere one priest would come in, and he was there to bless us and guide us, and his blessing actually uplifted us, even the whole family. And one of the main day was when we traveled from Townsville to Cairns. Because of the cyclone, we couldn't go to Cairns as we planned before, so we had to postpone that. And on a Wednesday, we went up to Cairns from Townsville, so we had to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, vacate the place at 3 o'clock, and then by 3:15 we set out to Cairns from Townsville, which is nearly 400 kilometers away. And we reached there in time for the Holy Mass. and we had there was priest available for confession, so we all could go for confession, and there was rosary going on, and which all gave us a lot of delight. And then back from Keynes, we started at 5 o'clock and we drove to quarter to 12 at midnight. So that was one of the biggest and tiring days we had physically. And we stayed there, and the next day morning we were both tired. And when I went to get some milk and I saw the church, I went in there, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to take them there. And then after vacating the motel, we went up there again. And when the priest saw us, he wanted to come and say hello to the family. So he came out, and the first thing he asked, I want all your prayers. And he asked all the children, please extend your hands and pray for me. I was thinking, oh, that's good. And then he gave, okay, this is, and that was Monday, Thursday, and he told, okay, today I'm going to pray especially for you, and I'm going to talk to the crowd in the homily about you and your pilgrimage, which gave us a lot of delight. Oh, okay, God really wanted us to do this.
And throughout the journey, we found that all the homes that opened to us and all the priests that we met were so welcoming, so warm, and so encouraging of this, because we had our doubts about whether is this a foolish thing to do. But the welcome that we received at each town, each home, strengthened us. And there was one instance where we were driving from Newcastle to Bathurst to visit the cathedral, and we called them up and they said the cathedral will close at 5:45, and an admin said that we'd get there only by 5:43. But then we had to stop for fuel, and that took away a few minutes, and we got there only at 5:47, thinking the cathedral door would be closed, because we'd driven 4 hours out of the way just to get to this cathedral. And I found the cathedral door was open, so even before Manoj could park the car, I got out and ran in, and there was Holy Mass being celebrated. And that moment when I saw the priest there, I realized like God is with us. He'd prepared a banquet for us there. So we walked in happily, and so all the children were excited too that there's Mass going on, when we didn't expect the cathedral doors to be open at all. And after Mass, the priest happened to be a Malayali priest who lives just 3 kilometers away from our home back in Kerala. He invited us to dinner, and he laid out a banquet for us, which he'd cooked himself. So that was a special, very, very memorable day. And one of my daughters, as we were leaving the church after dinner and everything, my daughter was asking, like, was that a dream? Did it really happen? Because it was, we were so tired, and then there was this banquet, spiritual as well as for the body. That was one very memorable day for us.
And the other challenging day was the last day of our trip. We were going to stay in Pride, and on our way from Sydney, from Wagga Wagga, what happened was the Navman took us through some unsurfaced roads. And anyhow, I thought, okay, I might keep going, and it came to a dead end where there was a farm gate there, and 2 other families were also with us. Then we had to stop and then come back to the main road and take the other road. So that was a little bit of hiccup in there.
In this pilgrimage, you would have experienced the great Southland of the Holy Spirit from a very new perspective. Do you think there is any hope in evangelization in Australia?
Of course, there is a lot of hope in evangelizing Australia, and it was very good to see so many country churches where there's a lot of prayers going on, and we could actually sense them. When we entered the churches, we could actually sense the presence in a very profound way.
What we need, I think, is to continue to be witnesses of God's love and our faith in this land, and not lose hope at all.
And also we could see that we are all called to awake and just start praying for this land where we are blessed to be.
On your pilgrimage, you met a lot of families. How did your presence impact the families?
We did meet quite a few families on this pilgrimage, and the effect that we had on them, I think that it was mutual, because we were strengthened by their faith and their service and their openness to God as they may have been by ours. I remember one instance in Port Pirie where we met with Father Francis, and when he found out that my youngest daughter's name is Gianna, he told us about this lady who was airlifted from Port Pirie and taken to Adelaide, the doctors were advising abortion because her health was at stake. She was 6 months pregnant, and so he asked us to pray, and we told him that we would ask the Jesus Youth back in Adelaide to pray for the same intention as well. And some families from the Adelaide group did go up and meet her and prayed with her, and the baby was born without any problem. It was premature, but a life was saved. And even during the rest of the journey, we met families who were inspired to attend retreat when they're on their trip back to India. There were other families who started prayer group after we left them, and a family in a group of young people in Tennant Creek decided to start a mother's cell group because that's what we had back in Cranwell. So there were lots of impacts, but I think we were benefiting too because of their faith and their witnessing.
Also, when we were in Mount Isa, where we stayed, when that man, I heard about our pilgrimage and all of us had a little chat with him. He was actually asking us to pray for him because he has been divorced for the last 18 months, and he really wanted to get that back, that connection back. He's actually from Samoa, and they've got 3 children. He was actually earning, I want to get that family reunited, and he told, okay, please keep me in your prayers. And he was staying for the last 6 or 7 months he has been away from church. And I was telling him, you would never leave God, and he was actually willing to go back to the church. He wanted to go back, and he told me, okay, I will be going back, but keep me in your prayers. And that was actually God giving us, okay, one more thing, okay, this is my plan, not yours.
Mm-hmm. Driving 6 to 8 hours at a stretch could have been really tedious. Did you do anything while you were driving?
We did say 4 rosaries per day because this pilgrimage is dedicated in Australia to Our Lady, Help of Christians. But some of my friends had given the children games and colouring paper and things like that to play with in the car, so they kept themselves occupied throughout. And it was a laughter that came from the back that kept us going, because we realized that the children were not getting too tired or negative about it. They were still happy and joyful, and the scenery was good too.
I think it's time to invite the children to join us. Taking 6 kids on a pilgrimage is not an easy task. Do you think it's easy for every family to go about the way you did?
It is not an easy task, but if the Lord is calling you to do things like this, something extraordinary, follow the promptings of the Holy Spirit and take an extra step, and God will give you everything you need for the journey. And do not fear.
God has given you an opportunity to be a witness in Australia. What would be your message to the families here in Australia?
Throughout our pilgrimage, we have encountered God in a very powerful way and felt the providence, which is going to be true each and every day of our lives. So for all families, we would want you all to be open to the Holy Spirit and with courage take a step forward and be His witness in this world. As the book of Joshua says, as for me and my family, we will serve the Lord.